From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
The news now. New rules for law enforcement signed into law by Governor Newsom today.
ICE, unmask. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of?
Bills on a new measure to prohibit most officers from wearing masks during operations.
Plus, water woes continue in Benicia, but the city's Oktoberfest rolls on.
Your water main is broke.
Yes,
Is that affecting this in any way?
No, because we're serving beer.
The latest on the critical shortage and its fix next.
And later, lowriders took over the mission today in San Francisco. Wow. Highlights from our exclusive coverage coming up. Live from the CBS studios in San Francisco, I'm Brian Hackney.
And I'm Andrea Nakano. Governor Gavin Newsom has signed a bill banning most law enforcement agencies from wearing masks. Newsom signed the bill in Los Angeles, which has been ground zero for the pushback against ICE raids that led to protests back in June.
And that bill, SB 627, bans law enforcement from wearing masks during operations. The bill targets immigration enforcement agents who frequently wear masks to hide their faces while conducting raids. The bill does not apply to state police. Governor Newsom says the ban is necessary to protect the public.
Unmarked cars, people in masks, people quite literally disappearing, no due process, no rights in a democracy where we have rights. Immigrants have rights, and we have the right to stand up and push back.
The new law will take effect in the new year. However, it is unclear how the state will be able to enforce the ban on federal agents.
Well, you might remember Project 2025 is a sort of 900-page manifesto developed by the Heritage Foundation, a blueprint for conservative goals. And today, San Francisco artists made very plain, yet again, that they are not fans. We Got the Power is a live performance staged at the Civic Center, and here's a sample. Today's program included a large-scale public performance. It was held in tandem with other protests in cities across the nation, and all went pretty well.
Activists voiced their disapproval of Jimmy Kimmel's live suspension at Disneyland. Under pressure from FCC chair and Trump appointee Brendan Carr, ABC decided to suspend Kimmel indefinitely for his comments on the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Protesters say the suspension is an attack on free speech.
He did not do anything wrong. He was not disrespectful. He didn't say anything that was untrue. And again, this is about free speech. So I expect him, as someone who has pushed hard about free speech, about our freedoms, about our rights, about what's happening in this country, I would say, Jimmy, toe the line, right? You've got to stay strong.
Now, protesters are calling for a boycott of ABC, ESPN, and Disney. Christian Benavides reports on the ongoing fallout.
Crews loaded moving trucks Friday outside the studio where Jimmy Kimmel tapes his late-night show in Los Angeles as more protests took place overnight over his indefinite suspension by ABC. President Trump warned he may go after other networks next.
They give me only bad publicity for press. I mean, they're getting a license. I would think maybe their license should be taken away.
Kimmel was suspended over these remarks.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
After FCC Chair Brendan Carr made these comments, urging owners of TV stations to preempt Kimmel's show.
We can do this the easy way or the hard way.
While some conservatives say Kimmel had it coming, others, such as Texas Senator Ted Cruz, criticized the FCC chair.
That's right out of Goodfellas. That's right out of a mafioso coming into a bar going, "Nice bar you have here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it."
Late-night comedians came to Kimmel's defense and engaged in mocking self-censorship.
President Trump just wrapped up his 3-day trip to the UK, and he
looked incredibly handsome.
Are the naysayers and the critics right? Is Donald Trump stifling free speech?
Of course not, John.
Other critics are not laughing.
This monstrosity of an administration is cracking down on dissent on our college campuses, within our own government, and now even on television.
Former Disney CEO Michael Eisner wrote, "Where has all the leadership gone? Who then will step up for the First Amendment?"
There's other headlines we're following across the country. In Arizona, preparations are underway for a memorial honoring conservative activist Charlie Kirk tomorrow. President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance are scheduled to speak at State Farm Stadium in Glendale on Sunday morning. Andrea?
Mangione's lawyers are asking a judge to take the death penalty off the table. They argue authorities have prejudiced the case by turning his arrest into, quote, a Marvel movie spectacle and by expressing their desire to see him executed. It comes after a New York court agreed to dismiss Mangione's terrorism charges.
Since Wednesday, the city of Benicia, and once again, since Wednesday, the city of Benicia has been under a mandatory water conservation order following the failure of a main supply pipeline.
Repairs are still underway, but now the community is celebrating an annual event that doesn't rely on water. John Ramos has the story.
The city of Benicia is in the midst of a civic emergency. The town is running short on water, but fortunately for the event they held today, it really doesn't matter that much.
The city isn't saying exactly what happened to make the water pipeline break, but on Saturday morning, the news was good.
The crew completed the welding, and they're still working on final testing and repairs. Residents should expect to receive a notification from the city to release the 40% mandatory conservation probably mid-next week.
Luckily, when it comes to the city's 5th annual Oktoberfest celebration, water is about the furthest thing from people's minds. Kate Golgel was frying up some Wiener Schnitzel at the German guy's food booth.
I heard about it a little bit before we came, but it's not affecting us. Yeah.
Okay, because there's not a lot of water being served here?
Yeah, right. It's more beer than water.
The authentic German foods being served were a big hit, but the real star of the show is, of course, the beer. And it, too, is authentic. 88 kegs of Bavarian brew from the Weihenstephaner Brewery in Bavaria, which has been making beer for nearly 1,200 years.
We've been lucky to have scheduled it on the exact same day that Germany's official Oktoberfest kicks off. So if you're in Germany today, you're doing exactly what we're doing.
The music and dancing was also classic Oktoberfest, with tables set up just like the massive beer halls in Munich.
It feels just like this with the tables and with all the people drinking and having a good time. As a community event, and it feels just like this.
This Benicia resident visited Munich in 2015 and brought back a lot of memories, including one video that shows how crazy things can get when the usually no-nonsense Germans start standing up on the tables to drink.
And everybody cheers them on, and hopefully they finish their whole pint. Well, this lady stood up in 2015, and this is what happened. Poured it all over her head. She never drank a single bit of it, but everybody cheered. It was great, and I'm just glad I got the whole event on video.
Here, it was a bit more relaxed, with people savoring ethnic foods like sauerkraut, schnitzel, and gravy. And one curious tradition, sausage in curry, known as currywurst.
If you go to Berlin, the capital of Germany, if you go to Berlin, on every single corner is currywurst. It's like the tacos here, this is our tacos.
And next door was the One House Bakery, where Hannah-Lee Pervin was serving up another Teutonic treat.
So these are the gingerbread hearts. So essentially at the beginning of every Oktoberfest, you go and get your loved one a heart and you put it around their neck. They said if you're wearing a heart, it signifies that somebody loves you.
Events like Oktoberfest take a year to plan, and nobody could have foreseen that it would happen on a day when the entire city was being asked to limit their consumption of water. But then again, maybe this was the perfect day for it to happen.
Andrea's practicing that dance move off screen. A new lease on life for the historic Berkeley flea market. The market recently signed a new contract with BART. It officially reopened this month at the Ashby BART station parking lot. Flea market had been a staple for half a century at that location, and then the official closure in June. But as Don Lynn reports, some vendors never closed down, and they're glad to have their new lease on life.
This place looks very different from the last time we came here on July 13. Back then, this market was operating without a permit, just 17 vendors, and Bart looked the other way. Fast forward to this weekend, a new lease and twice as many vendors. We counted 34 of them and a big boost in foot traffic. The future just got a little brighter for Ivy Yan's sunglass stand.
Legally coming back, I feel very happy.
The Berkeley flea market is now fully permitted again, thanks to a new 2-year lease that began this month. But longtime vendors like Ivy never stopped. She kept showing up on weekends, even after the market shut down in June.
Very special, very relaxed, very enjoy. People so kind. It's like family.
Ivy works a regular job Monday through Friday, but on weekends for the past 25 years, she's been her own boss. She says this place doesn't feel like work.
So much hard work, but I feel happy to be here.
And she's not alone. For many vendors, this is a community hub and a way to make extra income.
We need more people to know that we're open. A lot of people really think we're still closed.
The market is run by a nonprofit, Community Services United, or CSU. They now pay Bart $750 a month to use the lot, down from about $1,300 a month. After the pandemic, the market struggled with fewer vendors and lower foot traffic, leading to its temporary shutdown.
It's exciting, to see the vendor smiles on the vendors' faces out here because, they have structure and they have hope that this market is going to survive.
Artrinia Harris, the president of CSU, says the goal now is to bring the crowd back with food options, live music, family events, a kids zone, and a senior lounge. Many here blame online retail giants like Amazon for taking away customers.
I'm encouraging the community and the Bay Area to come back here and support this market, please.
At its peak, this market hosted over 200 vendors and served as a thriving gathering spot. Ivy knows those days may be behind them, but she still believes with enough community support, this 50-year-old institution can keep going strong.
If I can do, I'm continue another 20 years.
Bart plans to eventually turn this parking lot into housing. Now, if that happens, the plan is to move this market to a nearby open space. But first, this market has to prove it can survive the next 2 years. The contract runs through 2027. By the way, this market is open every Saturday and Sunday from 9 to 5.
All right, checking in on the forecast because there are some new developments we need to talk about for the early part of this week. We'll talk about Sunday and the second half of your week and coming up in the full forecast in a minute. First, look at the sky with me. Look at that cloud out there off in the distance. Can you see it? Let's get a closer look at it. That is the view from the Salesforce Tower looking south. That's a cumulus cloud. We don't get those here often. That's your sign there's something unique happening in the atmosphere over Northern California. There is a chance of rain in our forecast now. Wasn't there yesterday. But it is in the forecast now for Tuesday night into Thursday from the system out here, which you probably can't even really see anything on the regular satellite. If we look at it on that crazy psychedelic water vapor, maybe you can see this counterclockwise spin a little bit better here. That is an area of low pressure right off the coast. That, believe it or not, is going to help spawn a few showers. Watch the Futurecast. See the timestamp down there? Look at Tuesday into Wednesday. That's a little bit of rain coming towards us. Now, there's not a lot. There's not going to be widespread rain, but you've got better odds now than you did yesterday for the likelihood we're going to get some rain by the time we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. When we get back together again in the complete First Alert forecast, we're going to bring that down to a much more close-up view. I'll slow it down. I'll show you just how likely this is and how much we might get. And we still have to talk about Sunday. I'll have the second half of your weekend as well. We'll start there in the next visit. For now, guys, back to you.
All right, thank you, Darren. Volunteers spent the day on California's coast for California Coastal Cleanup Day. Here in the Bay Area, dozens joined Caltrans and Refuse San Francisco for the cleanup. A first-time volunteer told us about what surprised her when she arrived at Ocean Beach earlier today.
Beautiful day. I was a little bit worried that I'd be cold, but it's absolutely gorgeous. And a lot of people out here. I'm actually surprised how clean the beach actually is. Yeah, we didn't find too much.
The annual effort is meant to clear trash before the rainy season arrives and washes it into the ocean.
It was a cruise through the Mission District. Coming up, a look at the Lowrider Parade in San Francisco. That's next.
Even the Thanksgiving Day Parade, which has, I think...
Wow. Today, lowriders cruise through San Francisco's Mission District for the King of the Streets Parade. Your community station partnered, I think that's us, partnered with organizers, making the event the first lowrider parade televised from start to finish.
Our Ann Makovic was there and has more on today's parade.
It was a rolling party with cars from every decade sparkling down Mission Street.
This isn't a hobby, it's a lifestyle, it's a culture, and it's what I grew up seeing.
And for many of these car aficionados, it is a family affair.
Well, actually, the owner's in the front seat. It's my daughter. She just got her permit yesterday, so we're here to celebrate as well.
She hasn't driven it yet, but she's ready to take the wheel.
It's so pretty. Yeah, it was really pretty, and I always liked old schools.
Of course, the event wasn't without its hiccups. One car had a bit of a breakdown, delaying the parade a while until it was towed away, but nobody seemed to mind.
I just love the show. I love lowriders. I'm a car person, so I had to come out and support, that's all.
The San Francisco Lowrider Council was created to resist the racial profiling of young Latino men by the SFPD, which had banned cruising on Mission Street.
I grew up in the era when we were getting pulled over for driving these cars. So,
did you get pulled over?
Oh, absolutely, all the time. I think I got 38 tickets in 1 year.
But today, lowriding is celebrated while still honoring the past.
My father showed me how to drive one of these. But that's, one of the reasons. So I can just remember.
Looking to the past with a keen eye on a bright, shiny, colorful chrome future.
Go. Yes, anything that brings community.
Mayor Lurie joined the celebration. There he is. And our broadcast, he talked about the importance of celebrating Hispanic culture in a time when so many communities are feeling external pressure from the Trump administration.
Our job is to keep our neighbors safe, our residents safe, our immigrants safe. That's what we're doing. Crime in San Francisco, in downtown, down 40%. Citywide crime, down 30% this year. This is a safe city. I'm so happy to see people out enjoying and feeling safe to do so, and we're going to protect that right to have fun and enjoy San Francisco.
And for a full replay of the King of the Streets Lowrider Parade, head to kpix.com. But for a forecast, you can head to Darren Peck. Darren?
I've got a number of things to bring you up to speed on in this forecast. First thing I want to do is talk temperatures. There's a bit of a warm-up coming. We're going to cover that first. And then we're getting to this new development, this chance of rain that is in the forecast for late Tuesday all the way into Thursday. It's a relatively new development. Subtropical moisture, could have an isolated thunderstorm. Let's go in order. Sunday, none of that happens. Sunday, you wake up with a bit of the marine layer, then you get sunshine in the afternoon, and those are your daytime highs. Sunday's just like Saturday, but it'll be a few degrees warmer, a couple of degrees, nothing crazy. But that warming trend is going to continue, so what you really need to take a look at now is where we're going to be by the time we get to Tuesday. Watch, the color codes on here are going to get a bit deeper as we transition this into Tuesday. That's the timestamp over here. So we're looking at Tuesday's daytime highs now, and some of these are getting into the mid and upper 90s. I'll get out of the way. Go ahead and check out the Inland East Bay. 99 in Concord, 100 in Livermore, 95 in Santa Rosa, 93 in San Jose, and Here's the one that usually, grabs some headlines. 83 in the city. It's going to be a hot day there in the city. You'll have temperatures that are going to climb into the mid-80s there. So that covers the warm-up coming your way for early in this week. Let's go now to the other headline. And to do that, we're going to go back to that wide view, and I want you to see the system that is sitting off the coast right now. Area of low pressure that's getting developed out here. You don't necessarily see a whole lot of organization, but let's keep that wide view in the Pacific, because right here, right off our coast today, look at it on the water vapor. Now you're going to see something subtle out here. Counterclockwise spin. This is an area of low pressure just silently, quietly lurking. I'm going to put it in the futurecast and watch what happens. I'm going to play this forward, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, seemingly, you see these showers get pulled up from the south, drawn in from that area of low pressure. We need to get a closer look at that. Let me pull up the monitor behind me, and we're going to drill down into the details on this forecast. First of all, you could already see symptoms of this today. That's time lapse from Saturday afternoon. See that cumulus cloud out there off in the distance? Let's come in for a closer look at it. That is a building, very weakly convective cloud out there in the distance. We don't get that often. We only get that if there's something unique happening in our atmosphere, and now we can see the result of it. Again, you don't see it on the regular satellite. You do here on the water vapor. Let's put that into the futurecast imagery and watch the energy there rotate back our way on Tuesday and Wednesday. That's why the rain's taken its sweet time to get here. That's why the rain comes up from the south, seemingly out of nowhere. We've looked at it on that scale. Let's bring it down to a closer look. What's the latest thinking on this in terms of timing? Anywhere from Tuesday night into Thursday, watch these light showers rotate up, most likely coming into the South Bay, but everybody's got a chance. That gets you into Wednesday evening. Then we get into Thursday, and there are a few leftover light showers from it. So really the focus perhaps is Wednesday, but the window of opportunity is late Tuesday into Thursday for us to get some light rain. You can see the footprint for this. It's not big totals, but 1/10 of an inch, maybe an isolated thunderstorm. And if you get an isolated thunderstorm, the totals will be bigger, but that's going to be really localized. So the general takeaway is second half of Tuesday, going through Thursday, don't be surprised if you do see the opportunity for a stray shower. Let's put it in a 7-day forecast. I'll show you what that'll look like. Here's the inland microclimate. Look at the numbers first. That is your warm-up. Temperature's going to be in the upper 90s as we get into Tuesday. And then look at the cool down. Dramatic change. Humidity levels will go up. Chance of rain scattered through here. Nothing crazy in terms of rainfall amounts, but rain nonetheless. And when we look at it in the 7-day forecast for the Bay, the timing and the chance for rain is equal across the Bay. Everyone has the same chance. Slightly higher odds in the South Bay, but that could change as we get closer to it. And look at the cool down here for the Bay as well by Wednesday. All right, Andrea, back over to you.
All right, thank you, Darren. Well, coming up, Mac Jones put on a show in his first start at quarterback for the 49ers. Will there be an Act 2 at home tomorrow? The Red and Gold Report is next. Your undefeated 49ers, but they're going to have to keep their win streak alive, likely without starting quarterback Brock Purdy. Purdy is listed as questionable with a toe injury and was limited once again in practice on Friday. He is considered a game-time decision this weekend, but even if he is active, he's unlikely to start, and that's according to Kyle Shanahan. So that would mean Mac Jones would be the starter once again after leading the team to a win in New Orleans.
Obviously, I want to play every game, dude. Like, I want to be out there. We only get 17 regular season games, and every game matters. If you ask me, I'd love to, but I mean, I'm trying to be smart with my body here, but you never know. We'll see when the game comes.
Is it the kind of injury that he could make worse if he were to play?
That's what we want to make sure not of. Yeah, I mean, if it's certain parts haven't got there fully, then you can. So that's what we're trying to base off of, which probably won't know for sure till Sunday on that, but that's why I think it's highly unlikely he'd be out there as a starter.
Meantime in Concord, it was a special game for Mount Diablo High School last night. Football team had their first win at home on their new home turf. The high school's multi-million-dollar stadium had been off limits after a fire in August damaged the field, an incident investigators say was caused by fireworks. But the players finally were allowed to take the field Friday night against rival Alameda.
It's special for us as a team because we all wanted it.
And since that was here, we could finally play on it. And it's our first home game. I told the players, hey, tonight we just live in the moment, all right? There's not worrying about the next play. We take care of the play right now. We live in the moment.
Final score, Mount Diablo 34, Alameda 26.
Well, a visa will now cost immigrants a whopping $100,000. How this could make an impact on Silicon Valley.
Phase one.
From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Welcome back. President Trump has hiked up the price of a work visa. It will now cost $100,000 a year for an H-1B visa application. Lisa Rosner has more.
One of the most abused visas. On Friday, President Trump signed a declaration that would impose an annual $100,000 fee on H-1B visa applications. The signing, part of the White House's ongoing efforts to restrict immigration, is expected to impact the U.S. tech industry, including companies like Google and Amazon, which rely heavily on workers from India and China. The signing comes as the White House says it's reached a TikTok deal.
I had a great call with President Xi, and as you know, he approved the TikTok deal.
On Saturday, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt shared more details about the deal in an interview with Fox News.
This deal means that TikTok will be majority owned by Americans in the United States. There will be 7 seats on the board that controls the app in the United States, and 6 of those seats will be Americans. And the data and privacy will be led by one of America's greatest tech companies, Oracle, and the algorithm will also be controlled by America as well.
Also on Saturday, Leavitt said President Trump was not involved in ABC's decision to indefinitely suspend Jimmy Kimmel's show after Kimmel received pushback for comments he made related to political activist Charlie Kirk's death.
I can speak on behalf of the President of the United States, and while he's pleased with this decision, we had nothing to do with it. It was ABC's decision, and it was certainly the right one by them.
All of this comes as the president prepares to travel to Arizona for Kirk's funeral. The funeral will take place Sunday at State Farm Stadium, an arena that holds 63,000 people.
Joining us now to talk more about the impacts of the new H-1B visa price tag on Silicon Valley is immigration attorney Shweta Kanderwal. Thank you so much for joining us. I wanted to ask you, the tech sector is probably the one that's going to be most commonly associated with these kind of visas. What kind of impact do you think it will have on the workforce in Silicon Valley?
Thank you so much for having me here. Yes, the tech sector is definitely one of the big beneficiaries of the H-1B visas. But at the same time, we have to understand that it's not just tech, it's hospitals, doctors, nonprofits, educational institutes, schools. Many of these sectors also benefit from the H-1B visas. So that's definitely important to understand. As far as the Silicon Valley is concerned, of course, we all know it's not only just the big tech employers, but startups, smaller businesses, companies, they heavily rely on H-1B visas for talent. So I just, since the proclamation was issued yesterday, there has been a whole load of confusion about how this applies, the impact of it. And part of the reason is also because this really is a very badly or poorly drafted declaration. So either it's just vague or it's not well drafted, take your pick. So in terms of, we definitely see it's going to have a chilling effect, but it's also important to understand it's probably, there is a high possibility that it will not prevail on litigation because yesterday this proclamation was announced, and as per the proclamation yesterday, it appeared that everyone whoever is on H-1B visa but is outside the United States will actually be prevented from entering the country effective September 21st. So the kind of panic reaction that it generated, not just panic, but even there was a lot of anxiety, there was pushback, and the threat of litigation did cause the White House to issue a new proclamation today, which kind of clarified some parts of what was issued yesterday. So to kind of answer your question, obviously it is going to have an impact on companies, businesses, and not just tech. There are companies or, maybe Google and Amazon will be able to afford them, but the smaller ones will not, which leads us to kind of question that it's not egalitarian. It is going to be challenged on those grounds as well.
Now, the president said that, he tried to curb legal immigration in his first term. Now, this is his argument is that he wants to prioritize American workers, and this would ensure that America gets great workers to join the domestic workforce. What do you think of that argument?
Well, first, the understanding that is pretty misplaced. I mean, I think H-1B visas are one of the most misunderstood and detested of all the foreign visa categories. If you think about it this way, there are probably 600,000 H-1B employees, workers in the United States. And there are about 185 million jobs. So to kind of say that these 600,000 people or less than 1 million people are really competing and taking away the jobs from the American workers, honestly, mathematically and economically does not make sense. The other thing is the H-1B program already has built-in safeguards. The salaries that are to be paid to H-1B workers, they are market salaries. They are aligned with what the Department of Labor prescribes for an H-1B worker. So there is really no undercutting of wages. It's not that you're using low-grade pay workers instead of hiring American workers. That's really, really a fallacy. I cannot overemphasize this as well. And the other thing is if you are putting it all on a pay grade system, then the worst, the people who will be impacted the most would be the foreign students in universities. I mean, we have world-class universities that attract talent from around the world, and they are obviously not going to start their careers with the highest paying jobs. If they don't have a way to continue to work in the US after completing expensive college programs, then that's a huge loss to the country.
So as a ripple effects pretty much throughout the U.S. economy. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I mean, there is statistical data that says that for every H-1B worker, 5 jobs are created. So, it's just over the years. I think this backlash is something that has been building up over the years, and it just comes across in this loosely drafted proclamation.
All right, Shweta, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
And coming up, Laboos are now available in San Francisco. A look at the new store at Union Square that has the impossible-to-get toy in stock.
And we have a lot to discuss in the first look forecast. We got a warm-up coming. Some of us are going back to near 100, but that's just the first part of this forecast. Once we get to early middle next week, doesn't look like much out here, but this is going to be responsible right there for a chance of isolated showers and maybe an occasional thunderstorm. Here we go again. There's a chance of rain in the forecast again for this week, and we'll break down the details on that coming up.
And welcome back. In Southern California, heavy rain, as you have probably heard, triggered mudslides this week, damaged several homes and led to the death of a young boy. Storm system, the remnants of Tropical Storm Mario, as it drifted up from Mexico. Boy, look at that. That's something. One man shared his terrifying experience.
Mud started coming through the window as I was trying to get my dog out of the crate. There was nothing I could do. I got swept and pinned against the door with a log in the couch, and I was stuck against the door.
Boy, you mix rain with the desert, it can all happen in a big hurry. The rain and the clouds have moved out of the Southland, spending itself on the Sierra. And that's where Darren Peck comes in. Darren?
As impressive and as weird as everything you just showed us seems, we could be doing this again. Going into Tuesday and Wednesday, I don't think as intense as what came through California earlier this week. But there's a weak little area of low pressure sitting right out here off the coast. It may not look like much. You put it into the water vapor, you can kind of see it a little better. I know you're like, what's he talking about? But can you see there's a little whirlpool down here? This is water vapor. So when you look at the atmosphere this way, you can see circulations you wouldn't otherwise be able to see. That's an area of low pressure hiding out there off the coast. Now, if I put the futurecast in here, you're going to see this little area of rain that develops. This is getting us into Tuesday night, into Wednesday, which seemingly comes up from the west, from out of nowhere. But now we know it's being pulled up by that area of low pressure, which is lurking off our coast right now. Let me give you a couple of other ways to gain some perspective on this. Let's get to a little more information. You could actually see signs of this in the sky today. From the top of the Mark Hopkins Hotel looking south, that was a cumulus cloud. Let's get a closer look at that. This is the camera now on the Salesforce Tower looking south. Look at those bubbling clouds out there. We can get clouds like this, but we don't get them often. When you get cumulus clouds in the sky over the Bay Area, that's your sign, something unique going on here. This is that area of low pressure just throwing enough energy our way already that we're spawning harmless cumulus clouds out there now. Let me show you what this looks like close up on the Futurecast. We looked at it in the big picture down here in the virtual map. Now I want you to see what's coming our way when we time this out on the Futurecast. Keep your eye down here. That's getting us into Tuesday night, into Wednesday. Timing's going to shift. But Tuesday late through Thursday, that's the time frame to be thinking about for this. Most likely in the South Bay, but that could also change. We could see this shift a little farther north. Let's just look at one Futurecast. It's early, so it is not going to look exactly like this. But these are the forecast models doing their best to resolve out how this thing's going to come together and bring us some rain. Watch those showers drift across. This is Wednesday, and maybe a few stragglers left over on Thursday, and then we'll see more action in the Sierra. Southern California will get more rain out of this than us. Again, it's coming up from the south. If we're curious right now, well, how much rain might we get? We can see it in the long-range forecast models. Right now, it's like 1/10 of an inch of rain or less, and you can see the focus is a little bit more down in the south. The details on this will likely change as we get closer to it. So stay on top of this forecast with us. Let me leave you with one other note of importance. Tomorrow's fine. Bit of marine layer in the morning, then the clouds will melt back. You'll have plenty of sunshine. These are the daytime highs for Sunday. A little bit warmer than today, but nothing crazy. Let me show you the difference. We'll say goodbye to those numbers, and I want you to watch the color contours really shift into a deeper band of red. Tuesday, we're going to get kind of hot. You'll see it in the 7-day forecast, but I just wanted you to see Monday and Tuesday. Before that system gets here with whatever light rain it might be bringing, temperatures are going to jump, and now you'll see it in the 7-day forecast. Look at the numbers on here for our inland microclimate. Around 90 tomorrow, 96 Monday, perhaps upper 90s Tuesday, and then look at the dramatic cool down. As this system comes our way and delivers a chance of some rain, it's also going to drop the temperatures right back down again. Those were the numbers for our hottest inland microclimate. These are the numbers for the Bay. Chance of rain here just as well. Late Tuesday into Thursday. All right, Andrea, over to you.
All right, weird weather. Thank you, Darren. From hot weather to hot toys, the biggest collectible in the world right now is the Laboo. And fans here in San Francisco had a chance to cash in on the craze. Chinese toy company Pop Mart opening a new location in Union Square this week. Armanda Harry was at the soft opening to find out why the Laboos are all the rage and how they're giving the city an economic boost.
They're so ugly, they're cute, attracting fans of all ages and backgrounds.
It's just like a little piece of happiness and like a figurine. Oh, these ones are cute.
Kelly Albers was walking around the newest Pop Mart location at 200 Powell Street, stopping to look at the company's most famous line, the Laboo dolls.
They're a little quirky, a little scary at times, but they're really popular.
So popular that some of the rarer ones have resold for thousands of dollars. The Laboos have drawn long lines and even fights at the existing store in Stonestown Galleria. Albers already has a few.
I have like this purple one right here, which is like my personal favorite out of the the collection.
The most popular plush collection isn't currently available at the Powell Street location, but you can order online and pick them up at the store. The boxes are all the same, so you don't know what's inside until you open it.
Opening something and getting what you wanted to begin with is always like a huge adrenaline rush. It just makes you feel like, I don't know, it gives you a boost of serotonin that a lot of things these days don't really give you.
I decided to jump in on the Laboo trend myself and get one. I got one of these figurines here. It is a blind box, so I don't know which one is inside just yet, but we're about to find out. The moment of truth. We got this one here.
In the first day, Pop Mart saw a constant stream of customers looking to get their own mystery boxes, something CEO of the Union Square Alliance, Marissa Rodriguez, was excited to see.
Who knew a Laboo would be the thing that draws people back downtown? Whatever it takes, we're in for it. Like the keychain.
Rodriguez says the square lost a lot of businesses during the pandemic, leaving many empty storefronts. But that's turning into opportunity.
We are coming out of COVID. It was certainly a difficult time here in the square. But the silver lining in all of this has been an opportunity to really curate whatever it is the demand is.
They're trying to get a better understanding of what people want to see at brick and mortar businesses. She believes people want luxury goods, more foods and restaurants, as well as unique retail experiences. That's the category Pop Mart falls in.
As an adult, like adulting is really hard, and I feel like these just kind of bring sort of like nostalgia back, and I don't know, makes me feel like a kid again, and I think I've missed that feeling for a long time, and this is just something that reignites that love.
Albers hopes more people feel that love and support the resurgence of businesses in Union Square.
I'm really excited that the store is open. I hope it brings more people to Union Square, and as a San Franciscan, like, I love seeing new stores pop up, and I really hope it's successful.
And coming up, the untrained eye might see a boring billboard, but for somebody in the know, it's a complex puzzle waiting to be solved. Up next, what you get if you crack the code. Stay with us. And welcome back. With big tech companies throwing serious money around to hire top talent here in the Bay Area, how do smaller companies compete?
Well, for one CEO, it was as simple as presenting a challenge to coders, all on a giant billboard. Here's Itai Hod.
On a quiet San Francisco street, a plain white billboard seemed to appear out of nowhere. No logo, no tagline, just 5 strings of numbers. Was it an ad, an art project, or something else entirely?
It was a moment of desperation.
Alfred Walforce, co-founder of a small startup called Listen Labs, had a big problem.
We're hiring 100 people over the next few months, and there are these empty spots, but we can't fill them because Mark Zuckerberg is giving $100 million offers.
So they did something off the wall, spending 1/5 of their marketing budget on a billboard. To most, it looked like gibberish, but to the right eyes, a coding challenge. Solve it, and you land on a website and face the real test. Build an algorithm to act as a digital bouncer at Berghain, the Berlin nightclub famed for its nearly impossible door policy. Quirky, sure, but for Listen Labs, the bouncer challenge was a metaphor for their own work, using AI to decide who gets interviewed for market research and who doesn't. They expected a few engineers might notice. Then someone posted it online, and the puzzle went viral.
Were you surprised by the reaction?
It was wild.
Within days, thousands took a shot. 430 have cracked it. Among them, Alex Nisita, a software consultant from New York City.
Very fun to go through, solve the challenge, and reach the top of the leaderboard.
Now he's in the interview round, and yes, some of these code breakers are already being offered a job. In the end, 60 people made the cut.
How does it feel?
Well, it's fun.
Including the winner, who scored a night at Berghain, all expenses paid.
So much for stopping by.
Proof that sometimes cracking a code to find a job is more than just clever. It's a true sign of the times.
Well, all righty. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here at 11.
All right. Good night.